Hi, I'm August Keller, and this is my review of Kraven the Hunter. So, Kraven the Hunter is fundamentally flawed. Its dull protagonist has no personality, depth, or growth. This really flattens the drama, and it really only becomes more and more superficial. Characters care about each other, and they have motivations, I guess, but they're not really developed. They just kind of are stated and not earned. Yeah, I understand that the protagonist cares about his brother, but we don't spend a lot of time with them together to feel like they care about each other. It just goes off the fact that people know that brothers care about each other. So yeah, instead of developing emotions or themes or an arc, the script prioritizes a very convoluted plot. And yeah, an arc really is important, that can really ties everything together. So when a character just starts the movie a certain way and then just is that way the whole movie, it really feels stagnant. The whole movie feels stagnant, not just the protagonist. But yeah, instead we have this convoluted plot that is just generic at the same time. There are excessive side characters who really just kind of crowd the story. Meanwhile, the dialogue is very forced. It wavers between needless exposition, so much exposition that it doesn't matter, and these cliche platitudes where it's trying to act like it has some kind of theme, but it's really just saying empty, poetic-y kind of words that kind of feel cringy, honestly. There are predictable formulas. The logistics are very silly. Like, characters just show up in places and they hand wave away how they got there. The motivations are very weak, like I said. There are a lot of digressions where it kind of just does a whole scene for a joke that isn't that funny, so it's just a waste of time. There's a long, boring backstory where it's just really just not achieving much at all, except telling us stuff that we could probably already figure out. And then there's a lot of sequel bait. Instead of resolution, where the movie would tie up everything that it set up, there is nothing to tie up. There are no emotions. So instead of resolving stuff, it just starts sequel baiting and introducing the next villain for the next mediocre movie. Also, the acting has little charisma. That's really kind of a bummer. There's a little vulnerability. And there isn't even a whole lot of commitment to the roles. You can tell these actors are just kind of going through the motions. So all this is to say that Kraven the Hunter actively repels engagement. It's hard for viewers to get into this movie. It became a chore for me pretty quickly. Technically, Kraven the Hunter feels very fake, which is one of the worst things I think I could say about a movie. Its direction has no tone, no tension, and very little cohesion. From scene to scene, everything just kind of feels very choppy. There are bland color palettes and murky composition, very cluttered and blech, and that's how the cinematography feels. Through an overstuffed structure and a choppy pacing, the editing doesn't generate any momentum at all. It really just immediately starts dragging and just drags the whole way through. Despite some genre elements and subjective distortions, the sound design is really defined by amateur ADR. So characters their mouths aren't quite matching the dubbing that's going over them, which is, you shouldn't see that from a studio movie. The music is wholly generic and makes no impact whatsoever. I do not remember a single musical anything from this movie. The production design comes across very sterile, so the characters' costumes or the places they live, they don't reflect them as a character. They just are very stock. It looks like something you would see in IKEA, as a setup, as a model, and that really is alienating. And on top of that, there's a creature reveal at the very end of the movie, and it's just ugly looking. I was kind of shocked how bad that creature looks. It's ugly and silly at the same time, and it's supposed to be this thing that's so awesome and the big like reveal of the movie, and instead it's just off-putting. The cast is talented and famous. I really like Abbott, and I really like DeBose. Crowe, everyone knows Crowe, and Taylor Johnson. I don't feel too strongly about him, but he is somebody that people recognize. So those are names that matter. But still, their fit is all very arbitrary. Like, why is Abbott here? Why is DeBose here? It could have been anybody. They're not doing anything with the roles. And then on top of that, their reputations are very overshadowed by this movie. I think this kind of movie is so bad that it actually might tarnish their reputations a little bit. I hate saying that. I hope it doesn't, because I like these people. Or I like Abbott's work and DeBose's work, and I don't wish anything negative on anyone. But being in movies like that, like this, hurt you, don't help the movie, you know? So yeah, I can't give the casting too much credit. I mean, some. The effects have some stunts, but the digital work is just cartoonish and like uncanny. A lot of uncanny valley. It just isn't convincing, and distractingly so. It looks cheap, so that's kind of strange. So yeah, all of this is to say is that Kraven the Hunter is impressive misfire. It's just bad in almost every way, and it makes me wonder how a studio can even produce a movie this messy. Like, don't they know how bad this movie looks? They must. They delayed it a whole lot. So yeah, this isn't a good movie. I wouldn't recommend it. I don't think it's even funny bad. I just think it's a waste of time. And I'm sorry to say that. I don't like being mean. I don't want to harm anybody. And I know a lot of people worked hard, put hours into this movie, but it's just not something enjoyable, in my opinion. I didn't get anything out of it. So yeah, that's all I have to say about that. If you like what I'm doing here, please feel free to like and subscribe. I also have an Instagram linked in the description. I would love support there as well. But at the very least, I appreciate you watching, and I'll see you next time. Okay, thanks.